Doug! Christy heard Katie yell. Over here! Doug stood by the entrance of the International Concourse, head and shoulders above the rest of the crowd. His usually boyish grin was replaced by a frown, which Christy had rarely seen in the few months they had been dating. She wanted to fall into his arms and feel one of his reassuring hugs, but there was no time. Quick, Doug said. Get in line for the metal detector. Over there. Hurry, our plane leaves in 5 minutes. Katie and Christy immediately followed his instructions and passed through the archway, fortunately without setting off any alarms. Tickets, please, the woman behind the check-in counter said. She looked unruffled. The girls scrambled for their tickets and passports. The attendant tore off a portion of their tickets and said, Gate 54, to the right. They've already boarded. Come on, you guys, let's go! Doug's coach-like holler was a stark contrast to the ticket agent's relaxed attitude. Christy realized Tracy must be sitting alone on the plane, waiting for them. They had to make this flight. The three of them ran to the gate just as the door began to close. Wait! Doug sprinted ahead. We're on this flight. The man held the door open with his foot as another attendant reached for their tickets and quickly scanned them. You just made it. Only a few more pounding paces, and they were on the plane. I can't believe this, Christy said under her breath. She handed the flight attendant her ticket stub. Your seat's in row 34. That's all the way in the back. Naturally, Katie muttered. Clutching her backpack in front of her, she led the way down the narrow airplane aisle. Christy was the first to spot petite Tracy, planted in the middle of row 34. Her heart-shaped face had taken on the stern, defender of the seats look. That was not funny, you guys. Tracy scrunched up her delicate nose, trying not to look mean or terrified or both. I almost got off the plane. I decided if you guys didn't show up in 2 more minutes, I was going to get off the plane. No way was I going to fly to London all by myself. Well, we made it. A bit on the close side, I'd say. Doug popped open the overhead compartment and stuffed Katie and Christy's bags in next to his and Tracy's. You'll need to take a seat, please, sir, the flight attendant said with a definite British accent. Doug lowered himself into the aisle seat next to Christy. Katie, on the other side of her, began to fill Tracy and Doug in on their morning's delay. Christy closed her eyes and drew in a deep breath. She felt like crying, or laughing, or something. Then she felt Doug's strong hand covering hers. You okay? He asked softly. Christy opened her eyes and looked into Doug's gentle, understanding face. That was too close. She was still thinking, this is too much. This is crazy. Why am I here? We made it. We're on our way to England, Doug said, wiping the perspiration from his forehead with the back of his shirt sleeve. The boyish grin returned. Can you believe this? No, Christy whispered, feeling Doug's hand squeeze hers. I can't. It all happened so fast. Yeah, but we made it, Doug said, as the flight attendants began their presentation on the aircraft's safety features. I wish more people from the God Lovers group could have come. I'm glad the 4 of us made it. Doug, 4.5 weeks was not exactly a long time for everyone to raise support and get passports and everything, Christy said. If we would have waited until the summer to do this outreach, I'm sure a lot more people could have come. Doug shrugged his broad shoulders. I figure if the 4 of us return with great reports of the trip, everyone will want to go this summer, and we can do it all over again. Well, if we do, I'm definitely taking the early morning flight like Tracy did, even if it means getting up at 5 in the morning. You were right about that one. Christy pulled off her coat and fanned her red face with her hand. Doug smiled. She could tell he liked being told he was right. Not in an arrogant way, but in a big brother Doug way. The plane was now taxiing down the runway, about to take off. Did the mission send you the final information? Christy asked. That's the only part my parents were concerned about. I gave them the address we'll be at the first 2 nights in London, and the place we'll have our training. But I think they were concerned that I didn't know where our outreach...